City Council is reconsidering its stance on building new data centers in the city.
Yeah, just 3 months ago, the council passed a measure banning data centers within a half-mile of MARTA stations and the Beltline. 11 Alive's Joe Ripley joining us live from Atlanta City Hall. So, Joe, now there is a new measure that could make an exception to that rule?
That's right, Jennifer. This measure, if passed, would make for an exception to the recently passed data center ban here in the city of Atlanta to make for one possibly being built in the Adair Park neighborhood. There is, of course, as you might imagine, very heated debate surrounding both sides of this issue. This Christmas, dozens of Atlanta residents want a special present under the tree. Nasir Warsama and others showed up with signs and bright-colored vests asking for a new data center in the city.
Encourage the youngsters to go to the technology, to take advantage of the technological progress, and also as a fintech owner to improve my business for now and in the future.
The only snag, Atlanta City Council passed an ordinance in September outlawing data centers at least half a mile from MARTA stations or the Beltline. Councilman Matt Westmoreland says he'd rather see more affordable housing or green space near transit hubs than a data center.
Those pieces of land should be used to be as people-centered as possible, to build as much housing as possible, to build places where as many jobs as possible will be.
He agrees the city needs data centers to keep up with growing business and digital storage demands, but says it's just a matter of where those data centers get built.
If you look at data centers, they're both essential for the way we live our lives. They are also usually very large buildings that use incredible amounts of electricity and water and create very few full-time jobs.
Councilman Antonio Lewis authored legislation that would make one exception to the ban on data centers near transit. If passed, it would open up land in the Adair Park neighborhood to house a data center. City Council continues to weigh its options.
With this piece here, I'm hearing this piece of dirt may not be acceptable to living. Of course, there's always an exceptions. Of course, there are things we can do, but for the best and highest use, I've heard from both sides.
And I just heard within the last minute or two that this measure has failed a vote, so this exception to the data center ban will not go through. This will still stand, this ban. Westmoreland suggested that rather than building them near transit hubs, build it near more industrial parts of town like northwest Atlanta. And according to Flex Central, that's a data tracking center. There are around 86 data centers currently in Metro Atlanta. We are live outside City Hall in Atlanta. Joe Ripley, 11 Alive News.
All right.